What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. We're back from China.
Yes.
We made it back.
China and Japan.
Yes. I'm surprised they let her back into the country, to be honest. But we're here. We're safe. We're back. Everything made it. And we're catching up on some sleep. The jet lag is real.
Yeah, we had a day full of sleep, and then we're actually about to head back out of town today, this afternoon. So
yeah, this one's
a little crazy.
This one's more of a vacation. We're going on a cruise, so we're going to relax and get caught up on rest and relaxation and sunshine.
And I'm pumped because he's like super primed for it. I was a little worried because if you guys know him at all, he is a busy body. So he is always active. And I think that this one wore him out enough to really enjoy the relaxation that we're about to have on this cruise.
The travel days wore me out, that's for sure. So
yeah, they're just long. And
we had a long Thursday. Thursday was the longest day in the history of days for us.
But like actually, because we left at like 3:50 and we from Tokyo, and we got into the States at 3:50.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, which makes no sense.
Yeah, we'll dive into all that. Let's go through the whole strip. So let's start all the way back at the beginning. So I would say roughly about a month ago now, we got a call from MLF that said, MLF China had reached out to us here in the States, and they wanted a couple representatives to come over to help with the MLF China. What do they call it? Lure Culture Week.
Yeah, it was a Lure Culture Week.
So it was essentially a big party, a big tournament, a launch of this resort in China.
Yeah.
So they invited us. We of course we're like, yeah, let's go. It'd be an experience, once in a lifetime trip. So we jumped on it and started planning immediately.
Yeah.
Didn't know what to expect as far as fishing or none of that, and we'll get into all that here, but that's kind of how this all came about. This was very quick process. They called, we had, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks before we had to leave, so it all kind of happened really quick, but
which it was awesome that we didn't really have to plan anything. It kind of was already planned by them. We just basically needed to show up. So we got the flight scheduled.
Yeah, we booked some flights. We needed to be in China, in Beijing, by
the 9th.
Wednesday, the 9th, I believe. Was it the 9th?
The 9th.
Okay, so in order to do that, we had to leave here, Tennessee,
Monday night.
on Monday.
Yeah.
So we left the house about Monday afternoon. We drove to Atlanta because the flights were better out of Atlanta. So we flew from Atlanta to South Korea.
Yeah, Seoul, South Korea.
So then we had a layover there, and then we went from South Korea to Beijing. So we left at, I think it was like 11:30 p.m. on Monday night in Atlanta. And we flew, I think it was 16 hours to Korea, and then laid over for a little bit, and another 2 hours to Beijing. But fast forward through all that, we arrive in Beijing, and it's like
it's 9:30,
9 a.m.
Which
on Wednesday morning.
How we set it up, because we wanted to sleep through the flight, basically, so that we were kind of on their time when we got there. So that actually went super flawlessly.
Yeah, that wasn't as bad. I got a little bit of sleep on the flight over there.
Yeah.
And then, we arrive and it's morning, so like you're energized. We watched the sun come up in Korea, so it was like, it's a new day starting.
Got some coffee.
Got re-energized for the day. So
we changed in. Did we change in South Korea or did we change in China?
Change clothes? Yeah, we changed in when we got to China. We got to Beijing. We got off the plane and went right into the bathrooms.
Changed clothes, met up with Wilson.
Freshened up a little bit. And that's when we met up with Wilson. So Wilson is the president of MLF China.
Here, grab that.
And Wilson was basically our personal chauffeur.
Well, he was like everything.
Because without Wilson, we would have been extremely lost.
Yeah.
So Wilson was the savior and really put made the whole trip work. Because without Wilson, we would have been lost.
Yeah.
Very lost.
Well, and he had planned everything,
Yeah,
all transfers. And obviously, like we said, we didn't know anything about this for 3 weeks prior. So it's not like I could plan anything or have looked into anything. I mean, we really had no time like that. So he facilitated literally everything that had to do with us, meaning the international anglers.
Yeah.
So
he spoke English and Chinese,
yes,
so he could
interpret
communicate and get us through. So that was super important.
Yeah.
For us, our safety and just getting around and knowing where and when to be. So he picked us up at the airport that morning. We
met up with the.
So while we were at the airport, another international group was also coming in
Yep.
at roughly the same time. So we had to take the bus ride over to another terminal to pick those guys up. And that was Richard
and Neil from Namibia.
Namibia.
Yes, not Nambia, Namibia.
Yes, it's Southern Africa.
Yes.
So they're way far south in Africa, and I mean it was great.
They were
talking
freaking
with those
awesome.
Guys.
Yeah, they were
some of the stories.
Truly fabulous people. They're so awesome. I can't wait to go and visit.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go visit them for sure.
So we picked them up.
And then we both all go to the hotel.
Yeah.
We go back to the hotel and
get kind of settled in.
I think it was about lunchtime by then, wasn't it?
It was
probably 45 minutes to the hotel.
One.
So we get back and it's around noon or so. We drop our stuff, take a quick shower, and meet back in the lobby and
start eating.
Get ready for the day. Wilson was going to take us and kind of show us around Beijing. So it was at that point we met up with the team from Spain.
Yeah.
Ruben and Luis.
Yes.
So Luis didn't speak a whole lot of English, so he was speaking Spanish the whole time. And Ruben could
facilitate that.
He could speak English fairly well, so we could communicate easily with him.
And Google Translate helped a lot with Luis, but also Ruben. So
but they were both great guys to talk to, and you could really communicate well and understand what each other was saying after getting used to it for a little bit. So that was really cool to hang out with those guys.
Again, awesome. We're coming to visit.
So us and Neil and Richard and Luis and Ruben all pile into the van. Our tour guide, and then we started going around Beijing. So we went to first thing we did was went to a restaurant because everyone was starving.
Let me tell you, the Chinese people eat a lot and
they like to eat
all the time. I mean, he eats every 2 hours. They eat full blown everything, meals every 2 hours.
They eat a lot.
They eat a lot.
So we went to lunch and got a real traditional Chinese food for lunch, and I forget what we even had, but it was really good. I remember it was really good. We had some Chinese beer.
Yeah, Chinese beer. At every meal. They do family style. So
yeah, it's communal style meals. So they have a big lazy Susan.
In the middle, huge. I want one so bad for this Thanksgiving because it really worked out well. And then they put all of the plates that you order, which, again, thank God for Wilson. He was our orderer. Which actually this lunch spot is where his family goes, so they did not have a lazy Susan at this one table. We actually just did family style down this table, but typically they have a lazy Susan, so I 100% want one of those now. It was fabulous.
Yeah, I remember we had some really good soup. We had some good noodles,
hot and sour or hot and spicy soup.
Yeah.
Noodles, those taco things.
We had some little taco with chicken, I think
dumplings.
I don't know. We let Wilson do all the ordering, and sometimes we'd ask what it was, and sometimes we would just eat it. Because sometimes he'd start messing with us and be like, just eat it. You don't want to know what it is. You don't want to know. And I mean, we try a little bit of everything.
Try it before you know is
try
what
it
it would
and then
say.
I'll tell you what it is. So he was messing with us and ordered some crazy things. I think the craziest thing he ordered for us the whole week was probably the intestine.
Yeah. I forget what it was.
I think it was sheep intestine.
Sheep intestines.
I think that's what it was.
So.
And it kind of looked like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was little silver strips.
Yeah. It kind of looked like
just
squids.
in a bowl. It kind of looked like, I guess, squid, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wilson loved it. He ate a bunch of it.
I know.
But
well,
as soon as I saw it, I knew that didn't look right. Didn't look very appetizing, and I was a little on the fence about eating that. But we had a lot of good food, for sure.
Yeah, there was so much. And just so you guys know, China in general is zero waste. So they cook every part of the animal, of every animal. So, like, they'll strip the meat off the bones, and then they'll still, like, fry the bones so that you can actually get, like, the little pieces of meat off of the bones. Or they'll make a soup out of it, or, so on and so forth. So they're super zero waste. So when we say you sometimes ask and don't ask what you're eating, you definitely sometimes ask and don't ask, because it could be like beef tendon, which is crazy. It actually is pretty good, but it's legit like every part of the animal they use, which is really cool, but also interesting.
Real authentic Chinese food, not the Chinese food we get here in America.
Yes.
So it was very cool to see the difference. And
Wilson was so funny about it.
We were there for probably 4 or 5 days before we actually had what I would call a traditional American Chinese food.
We had
like sweet and sour chicken or orange chicken or
it was like
we had Kung Pao chicken before.
Kung Pao.
But that was nothing like the Kung Pao chicken you
it was
get
so
here.
good.
It was way better, way different.
Yeah.
But the first one was not till like we were on our way back to Beijing that we had something that reminded me of the Chinese food here. So it was pretty wild. But okay, we got lunch in Beijing, then we went exploring, and Wilson took us around to Tiananmen Square, which is essentially, an old town.
Oh no, Tiananmen Street.
Tiananmen Square.
No, the square was where that big flower pot was, that it was like closed off. So they had a national holiday the week prior to us getting there. And I think it was like their 75th anniversary of something. So they had all of these really cool, like big, huge, massive, like pots of flowers. And in Tiananmen Square, that's where they had that. We went to this one, Tiananmen Street, which is the old street that we went down with all the shops.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of stuff, but we were definitely at Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
That's where all the security was set up.
Well, yeah.
So we went there and seen all that, walked around a good bit, and then as it got darker, we went to
Tiananmen Street.
I don't know if that's what it was.
I don't. This is what he had texted. Called, yeah.
But it was I
have some notes just.
A street that was just lined with shops and
food
and just. It kind of reminds you of like a strip in like a tourist city, but this was not tourist at all. This was for the locals. Like it was a very
selling to the locals.
Yeah.
And it was like 4D, right? So you go down this strip, but it also expands. So like if you go in some of the shops, there's like shops behind the shops, or like they expand out. Like it was just massive. It was big.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
When it started getting dark, and that's about when it hit me that I was pretty tired. I think everyone started getting pretty tired. Everyone had traveled, 20 to 30 hours to be there. And that's when it started hitting all of us that we were pretty tired once it got dark that night. So I think we went and ate dinner again. We ate more food, and then
we went back.
Then we went back. I think we were back at the hotel and in bed by about 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8:30. Which also their sun goes down pretty early. Like their sun started going down at like 5. I
don't remember. It was dark at like 6:30.
Yeah, it was early.
It was earlier,
or it felt earlier.
But it probably got light earlier. It's daylight the same amount of time.
So the next day was full tourist day.
Yeah, so we woke up on, I guess that'd be Thursday now. Second day we were there, had breakfast at the hotel.
Yeah.
Checked out of our hotel room there, put all our luggage in the lobby, and then loaded up the bus.
Hit the town.
That's when we met up with Brent Chapman and James Elam.
And Brent from South Africa.
And, Brent from South Africa.
Yeah, so we had 2 Brents.
Had showed up late the night before once we were asleep. And some guys from the Cast King crew that were also there with Brent and James and, kind of filming them and helping out with the tournament. So we had a whole busload of people loaded up, and we went and explored Beijing some more. So we went to the Forbidden City, which was one of the old dynasties. Is that what they called it?
Yeah, so it
was the Ming Dynasty?
Ming Dynasty.
So it was essentially all of the housing for the
that
royal
family.
family.
Yeah, which was
time.
like they had
It's
three.
huge.
Yeah, they had 300 servants in that one city, and so that's only the people that helped out. Like I can only imagine the amount of people who lived there.
Yeah, it's crazy how big it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all walled off. You know, it was
So
very cool to see.
it literally was its own functioning city inside of a giant wall.
Yeah.
Just to protect the family.
So that was a full day of tourism. Walking around
we did
there
that
was a few hours.
The Temple of Heaven.
Yeah, then we got lunch after that, and then we went to the Temple of Heaven, which was kind of on the way towards the lake. It was a little south of Beijing, so we went there.
It was beautiful.
There, walked around that, checked out all that stuff, and then we got dinner. Yeah. And then we hit the road.
Yeah, and
to the tournament.
So where
to the lake.
Yes. And where the tournament was in Zhangwang County.
Zhangwang City. I think it was the name of the city, but this was a small town. I wouldn't even call it a city. It was a small town that was, 4 hours from Beijing. So it was a long bus ride that night. I think we rolled in at like 1 a.m. Yeah. So it was, but that was a really cool part was, we had all kind of been together for, a day and a half. But it was just a lot of walking and tourism, so we didn't really get to sit down and talk much fishing. But once we got on that bus, started driving, that's when the fishing stories started coming out. And we got to, start showing pictures and sharing stories and, hearing all the stories from the guys from Spain and South Africa and Namibia. I mean, it was incredible hearing some of the things that they had to say. So that was when the fishing really started kicking in and getting
ramped up.
Yeah,
everyone at this point was like, we want to see the lake, like we want to go.
We were all getting antsy, we're all ready to go catch a bass, and just the fishing stories started flowing. So that bus ride there really went pretty quick because we were just swapping fish stories, showing pictures. We got to stop at a Chinese truck stop, which is like a Love's essentially, and
they had everything.
It was pretty cool to see. I mean, it was such an experience on that side of things, just seeing all the different
how it's set up.
Yeah, just seeing normal life there. Yeah. And, the different snacks and food and all that kind of stuff. So I got, of course, everywhere we went, I had to buy some kind of food or snack. So at that truck stop, I got some kind of tea, some kind of green tea. I got some
Lay's.
I got some Lay's chips that were cucumber flavored.
Yeah. We got Pringles.
I got some Pringles, which were actually very similar to the Pringles here. The Lay's chips, I don't think I've ever seen a cucumber flavor, but they were very good and refreshing. What else did we get there? We got some Oreos, some Hershey Kisses. Yeah. Just some different snacks while we were there. But then we jumped back in the bus and drove the rest of the way. So we roll into Zhangwang late at night. It was dark. We really couldn't see what was going on. So we check into the hotel, go right to sleep, wake up, and it's basically tournament time. So we wake up and it is tournament registration day. Yes. The off day, the test fishing day. They called it test fishing for this event. So,
versus practice, it's test fishing.
Yeah, we got a very traditional Chinese breakfast.
Yeah, which they do. So their meal, they don't do breakfast like we do. They do more like soup, noodles. They have this really good bread that they make, and then like hard-boiled eggs is kind of what their standard is. More like I would say like a miso soup is what they do.
Yeah, the traditional Chinese breakfast is nothing like our breakfast here. The only similarity would be an egg. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, but it's not scrambled.
No scrambled egg. We had a hard-boiled egg and some noodles, some bread, and that's about it.
Yeah. They don't do, it's not like sweet heavy at all. Actually, none of their stuff is like super sweet.
No.
So we had breakfast, and then it was time to get registered.
We loaded up on...
we got registered. They gave us a ton of free stuff.
Tournament registration there at the hotel, so we registered for the tournament, and then we all loaded up in the bus.
We got these awesome rain jackets. Signed when they do registration, they like sign the board. That's like their welcome thing, and then they take pictures of everyone with that. So that's pretty cool, just as like for them to have as a safekeeper.
Yeah.
But loaded up.
We all loaded up in the bus. We went into the small town first to get coffee because they don't do coffee with breakfast there. And all of us were dragging a little bit. We needed some coffee, so we went to the little local coffee shop. And that's when it really started to, what's the word I'm looking for? We really started to realize, like, we're in a really small town. And they had never, this small town had never seen foreigners before. Well, like, we're so far out from any tourism place or anything that, like, this was the first time anyone who really didn't live there had ever come to this little town. So it was an eye-opener for sure to see how that, and just see how normal life flowed there in
which
Zhang
it really
Wong.
was like a normal, like, small town. It was just it was different, whereas they're all of, well, I guess it would be, so, like, obviously we live in a small town, so instead of the stores being kind of everywhere, they were on this, like, one strip area. So it was a small town, but it, like, kind of had a more city-ish, like, strip feel where all the stuff was, all the stores.
Yeah.
And everyone there rides bicycles.
They all ride bikes.
And it's all electric, like everything. Cars, bikes. They have some gas cars, but there's really not a ton of gas stations.
There was more there than in Beijing.
Well,
sure.
There wasn't any in Beijing.
Yeah, there was a lot more gas or normal-looking vehicles there than in Beijing. Beijing was a lot of electric, but definitely they liked their bikes there. Yeah. And driving on the roads were interesting just because of the bikes are everywhere. Our good thing we had a truck driver because he was swerving around everybody and got us there safely. But yeah, so we picked up some Chinese coffee, which was really good. I was impressed. Delicious. Very good coffee, and then
headed out.
We went to the lake. So that was our first time to get to the lake. So we show up at, this is a brand new, what do they call it? A fishing facility.
Yeah.
It's Tian Lake.
Yeah, Tian Lake.
Tian Lake.
They had it decorated, like, to the hill. I mean, you go down this, like, windy path to get there. There was MLF and sponsor flags, like, down the entire, I mean, it was...
For a couple miles, yeah.
It was
impressive.
Amazing.
To see all the hard work that they put into it and really built it up. Like they said just a couple months ago, that was just a field. There was nothing there, and they built up a pretty cool facility there for to host tournaments. And the whole goal of this event was to
bring more
enhance the tourism to this lake and to this area. So I feel like they did a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, it really was.
We show up at the lake, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful lake. That's when we started, pulling our tackle out. Like I brought all my tackle and some reels, no rods. So at that point, that's when I got, handed some rods from, they were Crony fishing rods, which was really, that was the company that sponsored me and my team to fish in this event and helped pay for us to come out there. Yeah. So very thankful for them and that.
Which
and they were really
awesome.
Cool rods.
Well, that, and they came to the event, which is so cool. Like,
no, they were a major sponsor in the event. So they had a big hand in putting this whole thing together. So
it was insane.
It was really cool. But, at that point, all the fishermen, of course, are running to the lake and checking it out, looking at water clarity.
Picking out boats.
Yeah. So that was when we got to pick our boat. And they had a set, 10 or 12 of these little aluminum boats. They were essentially set up like little bass trackers, maybe 17 foot. A little
smaller,
17 foot with like a 30 horsepower on it. They were pretty small engines. It reminded me a lot of fishing, growing up. My dad had a little aluminum boat like that. He still actually has an aluminum boat like that. And, it reminded me fishing out of that. A little bass tracker, something like that. Had a 12-volt trolling motor on the front and just a little 30 horsepower maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
no
not sure.
graphs, not at the console, not
nothing.
at the front, just a trolling motor and a big motor and a live well.
So,
hold on real quick, let me pause. So this is actually really cool how they did this. So with the tournament scene over there, it's very different than over here, and they can't really put a ton of restrictions on boats because everyone has something a little different. And the cost to have that is pretty significant, and they're just kind of getting into the whole like tournament scene, so it's not like they can have a tournament and have regulations like that. So they had these boats for them to use, but they had people out there with 250s, 4 graphs, like lights everywhere.
Yeah, people could bring their own boat.
You can bring whatever it is.
The local anglers in the tournament brought their own boat. Yeah,
yes.
But there was a speed limit on the lake to kind of keep things fair. So they could only go, I forget what the speed limit was. We didn't have to worry about no speed limit in our
Which
little boats.
if you watch his TikTok at all, you'll see that I put up some videos from like their launches, and there's a whole variety on that lake. But it is really cool that they provided those boats for the international anglers. And then also, one of the tournament anglers actually had to use one of these boats as well, because something had happened with their boat. So it was nice that they had those and were able to provide them versus us trying to figure out how to get a boat or find someone with a boat over there in order for them to compete.
Possible.
Well, right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
been possible.
But it's nice. They were provided.
Super cool fishing out of the little aluminum boats.
Yeah.
So,
and they are really
cute. I kind of
cute.
forgot to mention, when we arrived at the hotel the night before, that was when I met my partner for the event. So, I guess the original plan was for another angler from the U.S. to kind of come with me and fish together as a team, but they couldn't really find anybody last minute like that. So, I got paired with kind of I guess he's a local. He kind of hasn't tournament fished in a while, but Thomas Wong. Yeah. He's very, very famous in the Chinese fishing world. My understanding is he's the one so he moved from California to China, I think he said 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And he essentially brought the sport fishing for bass from America to China and essentially started the culture of tournament bass fishing, or like catch and release bass fishing in China
versus just catch to eat bass fishing.
Yeah, they're very much.
Typically...
Yeah, they've always fished for bass or fished, and ate them, but the sport fishing side of it was really
because he's
responsible for it.
When he was in California, he fished Toyota Series and BFL and fell in love with it. So when he came back over, he started doing videos about catch and release, and then also had a TV show about it. So that's how it kind of like blew up over there. And everyone says like he's the OG. Like bass fishing didn't come until 2008 when Thomas came and brought it back. Like that is what people say, which is so crazy and awesome that obviously he got to be Matt's partner.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to fish with Thomas.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, great guy. We had a lot of fun in the boat together. But I got to meet him the night before. Yeah. So he came to the lake with us about the same time. And he's like, let's jump in the boat and go around and do some test fishing. So test fishing is a little bit different. So we were not allowed to fish on test fishing day.
No casts.
We weren't allowed to fish outside of the off-limit zone. We were allowed to fish inside the off-limit zone, which is a little backwards, you would think. So we were allowed to test baits and cast and stuff while we were tied up on the dock, kind of inside the off-limit zone for the tournament. But we were allowed to take the boat out and drive around the lake and kind of have a ride around and just check out the lake and see where we wanted to fish. So we spent a couple hours and rode around the lake, with that little 30 horsepower. The boat didn't go very fast, so we took our way around. But, really, it was a pretty small lake. I would say it was, less than 2,000 acres. It was probably 1,500 to 2,000 acre lake, fairly small lake. Yeah. And we had 45 boats in the tournament, so it got a little crowded in some areas that had a lot of fish in them. But so we took a ride around, and then, we kind of got back to the dock, and I think Thomas had some things to do, so he had to run back to the hotel. But we kind of hung out there for the rest of the day while the rest of the guys, did their ride around and rigged up rods and tackle and did some media, some interviews and stuff like that. But, as we're sitting there on the dock, couldn't help myself to test fish. Had to test some baits, so... cast out on the dock and caught a couple fish off the dock. So I caught my first China bass during the test fishing day. And that was it was a long day. All the days were long, to be honest. That's another reason we were so tired when we got home, is all the days were really long and
they were so fun though. So that first day we had the dinner. So after test fishing day, we had the
after we pretty much stayed there till it was about getting dark, and then
had to be back.
Loaded up, back up in the bus, go back to the hotel, which was about a 30-minute drive, and then dropped their stuff off, took a shower real quick, changed, and then back down to the restaurant at the hotel for the pre-tournament dinner.
They had this like insanely beautiful room rented. I mean, the ceiling had like diamonds hanging from it.
Yeah,
they're like crystals.
Pretty good party there for sure.
It was awesome, and they had like free things to give out. So all the anglers, like, they play this so fun game, and it's rock, paper, scissors, but you're playing directly against the leader. And so basically you want anything that...
The MC.
Yeah, the MC. that won't, but, like, that he isn't throwing is, like, how you do it. And whoever is left, like, wins something. And it's so fun. They did a card game, too, where they were calling out, like, different cards. It was just so fun. They obviously had this huge dinner on, you know, a spinny thing again. They were like super celebratory. Like, one of our guys won a rod, one of them won a bag. Like, they had this company that sponsored them. It was an alcohol brand that sponsored them. They created a bottle just for this MLF event that was porcelain, and it's beautiful. We brought one of the bottles home because it was so beautiful. It's like this blue broken porcelain put back together, and, you know, put their alcohol in it, but that will never ever be sold. And on the bottle it says that not for sale because they just created it for this event. So everyone's going around like having drinks together, and there they do bottoms up, which literally means stand up, which I love it. I don't think I'll ever be able to do like a shot cheers without doing that. It's just so fun. Like, they were so happy to be there, but like,
oh yeah,
they thought of everything. It was so nice.
Good experience. Everyone was having fun and you know, cutting up, joking with each other. You know, we didn't really understand what was being said very much in the tournament meeting, the tournament rules. But we had there was a few anglers that could definitely speak both Chinese and English. So
because a lot of those schools, they learn English too. It's just not as, it's like us when we, you know, learn Spanish as kids. It's not as used.
Yeah, they were definitely hanging around and helping us out. And at that point, we still had Wilson, which, you know, he was following us around. And then we had another interpreter, Galway from the local school there.
Yeah, he was going to college down there.
So he was also there to help with all the interpreting. Yeah, so we had plenty of people around to kind of keep us in line and you know, let us know what was going on. But
it was so awesome.
That was a fun night. The thing I learned most at that meeting is a lot of people in China like to smoke.
Oh my gosh.
There would be tables of just 10 people, you know, maybe 10, 12 anglers at each table. And
you're allowed to smoke anywhere.
Yeah, they smoke inside, but there would be some tables where all 12 of them would be smoking at one time. And then they'd finish, have a drink, and then another smoke would light up. And I mean, we're in this little, basically a glass box of a building, and it got pretty hazy and smoky in there after a little while. But
they really do love to have a good time.
You could definitely notice it before that when you're outside and around everybody. A lot of people are always smoking, but once we all got sit in that one room, and you really could tell that everyone likes to smoke there.
Yeah, they love to smoke. And then they just love to have a good time. So that was the first day and first night, which was super, super fun. The next day, though...
How long are we going here?
I mean, it's a while. We're at like 28 minutes.
I know. We haven't even got to the tournament yet. Jeez.
I told you we should do a vlog and then a tournament.
Oh, man. So let's dive into the tournament.
Well, yeah. So the next day is tournament day 1.
Tournament day 1.
Yes. So...
That was Saturday.
Yeah.
So we landed on Wednesday. All this has happened, and now it's Friday night.
Tournament day.
We're heading. Tournament day 1 is Saturday. Yeah. So wake up.
They start later.
Well, day 1 they start later because they have an opening ceremony. So.
Which was insane. I mean, it was awesome. Like shooting color rockets in the air. Awesome. I mean,
they had some fireworks.
They had media everywhere. But it was a
very formal opening ceremony where they had, you know, people from the town there.
Yes, all of the government officials, local and city. Like, it was a huge event. I mean, it really was a huge event for them.
We had the opening ceremony, got to meet all the local officials and whatnot, and had a very formal ceremony, I guess you would call it. You know, they had an English interpreter that was essentially, they had the Chinese MC and then the English interpreter MC,
MC.
that would just, he would say a sentence and then she would say a sentence and just back and forth. So it kind of drug it out a little bit longer than it should have taken, but it was a very cool ceremony, and they ended it with fireworks.
Colorful,
to officially start the event.
Oh,
They said,
so
it's
cool.
time to go, let's go.
And then they were
Shot some fireworks off, and they didn't warn us about the fireworks, so it kind of shocked us all a little bit.
They gave
scared
us this
all.
like really, really delicious water. So the local town has like different things that they make, and we're able to provide, obviously. But this water, it's made with like a twist cap on top with honey that comes down. So the water is flavored, and then you add the local honey that they added in there. If we can get it in America, like I mean, it would be all she wrote. It's so good.
So it was honey lemonade, essentially.
Yeah, well, some of the flavors, but they had
packaged
lime.
in a water bottle.
Yeah.
And you unscrewed the top,
so
and the
good.
honey fell down in. You shake it up, mix it up, and then you got some lemonade. It was a pretty cool drink. So yeah, they gave us one of those there, and then it's time to go fishing.
Yes.
So tournament started at 10 a.m. So takeoff was at 10 a.m. And you fished 8 hours. So we quit that day at 6 p.m.
And
now,
this is when
the tournament format was a little bit different,
which they didn't know. So
we didn't know a whole lot going into this.
Yes.
We found out more and more as we got closer to the event. You know,
Yes.
the night before in the rules meeting, we kind of learned a little bit more about the format. But we were still learning as, you know, up until the actual takeoff. We were still learning exactly
about how to do it,
what was going on. And, you know, looking back, I would do things a little bit different now that I've experienced it and understood what exactly we were doing. But, okay,
let me tell you.
Takeoff was 10 a.m. The rules of this tournament were...
It's catch, weigh, release.
No, it's not.
Or,
you take off at 10 a.m.
It's not catch, weigh, release. It's
You go
every
out-
fish counts.
Yeah, essentially it's every fish count. You're only allowed to keep 10 fish at any time.
Yes.
But if you go out and catch one, you could come in and weigh in one fish.
Yeah.
But you can't bring in more than 10.
Yes.
So the goal was to go out, catch 10 fish as quickly as you could, come
them
back
in.
to the weigh-in, run up, weigh your fish, dump them, go back, get in the boat, and go out and catch 10 more. So
Yes.
it was like a very fast-paced tournament.
So it like literally blended the weigh-in experience and the every fish counts experience. And when I tell you that they were hauling butt up to this weigh-in, and I was talking to one of the MCs and he said, yeah, we added this in for entertainment value. And I was like, it's fully entertaining. Like, it is awesome. I mean, they were hauling. One of the guys, the winner, they called him Peter Pan because he, no joke, full out sprinted. His partner, he would have his fish already bagged. His partner would ram the boat in, and they do not slow down. They ram the boat into the dock. He would take off running, put his fish in the weigh thing, sign his little form, and sprint back. And by the time he had sprinted back, his partner had like pulled his boat out, turned it around, and backed it up so that when he jumped on, they could just zoom back out and go again.
Yeah, they were very efficient.
Yeah, wild.
So we were taking in the experience a little more than that. We weren't full out sprinting. It kind
You
of took
ran?
it took me a little bit to figure out the situation.
Yes.
But essentially, so Thomas and I took off, and we went to just right around the corner of the first cove and started catching some fish pretty quick. We caught
like 20 pounds the first bag.
We caught.
But it was
first
in
one,
kilograms. So.
He caught one pretty quick. Thomas caught one really quick, and then caught another one, and then it kind of slowed down for a little bit. Then we hit a little flurry, got up to like 7 or 8 really quick, and then we were stuck on 9. And this was where like the tournament format kind of, we learned more as it went on, because we were sitting there stuck on 9 fish, and being in such a slow boat, Thomas wanted to go to another area that he thought we could catch another 10 fish. So he's like, should we leave, go weigh in the 9, and then go there just because of the way the lake laid out, or should we grind it out and try and catch one more and then leave? So we ended up wasting some time because of the way that format was, that we stuck in that one area until we caught 10, went and weighed them in, and then ran and went to the next area and caught another 10. But so our first bag was pretty quality. It was they weigh everything in kilograms, so it was like 9.3 or 9.5 kilograms, which was like right around 21 pounds for 10 fish. So they
started with like the leading bag, like they had the biggest bag. So they do who can catch the most weight, who can catch the biggest single bass, and who can catch the biggest 10 in a single time. Those were the awards. But we didn't technically know that until the end.
No, the tournament was for total weight.
Well,
they had a
separate
like
thing,
a big
though.
fish award and then a big bag award to go along with it. But they had like a top 10.
But it was funny watching our guys like figure out the format as it went on. I think I'm gonna sneeze really a million more times.
No more sneezing.
Woo!
Okay, we're back. The camera died on us, and then Brittany had a sneeze attack. So we're back in sorts. Where were we?
We were talking about like
tournament.
Yeah,
tournament
them
day.
Figuring out exactly what to do. Me trying to figure out what to do, and like what it all meant behind the scenes. Because obviously I was at the ramp while they were going in and out. So trying to communicate all of that as well.
Yeah, we'll have another video with more of the actual fishing footage and kind of dive into that more.
We have so much. It was awesome.
So we actually, Thomas and I actually had a cameraman in the boat with us.
Mars.
They had a live stream camera mounted in the back, and then I was running my GoPro chesty all day. So
we got
some really cool footage.
1.8 million people watching. Like, insane.
They had a lot of people watching the event, that's for sure. So it was really cool to see it. Everyone come out and support the event and watch it obviously on their social medias.
It was so cool.
Definitely a cool experience. So day one of the tournament. Like I said, we'll dive more into the specifics in another video, but we ended up weighing 50 bass.
Yeah. We
came to the scale 5 times, and I forget exactly how much weight we had. I think it was.
It was
I don't
like.
Remember.
I
don't remember.
33 kilos. Wasn't it? Because it was like.
No, we had 2 9-pound bags, or 9 kilogram bags. We had like a 5, a 6, and an 8 maybe.
I can't remember.
I don't know. Our average was a little bit higher than everyone else.
Yeah.
So like for instance, to put things in perspective, the guy who was leading, the team that was leading after day one, they weighed in 13 times. So that's 130 bass they caught. But their average 10 fish would weigh like 4 kilograms, 5 kilograms.
Yeah.
So they were catching a lot smaller
if not
fish.
Less.
But they were just running out, catching 10 real quick, coming back. And they were
that
way more
Peter
efficient than we were. So I forget what the actual weights were. But we were like middle of the pack after day one. But I was just there for the experience. It was a lot of fun.
Middle. I thought you were 17.
No, we were like 22 out of 45. That's the middle of the pack.
Oh, I thought y'all finished that.
That's where we were 17. After day one, too.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, great time. It was a long day. It was an exhausting day because, in the morning we had the opening ceremony, so we got a kind of a delayed start. We didn't take off till 10. We fished till 6. It's getting dark at 6. So by the time we finish all the
media stuff,
the afternoon interviews and, get our rods out and get back into the van and get back to the hotel, like it's way past dark, 7:30 or so.
Yeah. Which we had dinner, probably like 7:30, 7:45.
Yeah, we ate dinner at the hotel and went right to bed and, woke up and do it all over again. So it was a pretty typical tournament day.
The
once
next
we
day
got
started
out there,
earlier.
Like the cool part to me was like once you get out there and start fishing, like, to be honest, I forgot I was where I was.
In China,
I forgot I was in China. Like I thought it was just a normal day on the water. Anywhere, the lake kind of reminded me of Texas a little bit. A lot of standing timber in there. It's a man-made lake, obviously, so it flooded, an old forest or farmland, and it was the fishing was very similar to anywhere else as far as catching the fish. The only thing I would change looking back was, the format. You really had to target those numbers of smaller fish to do well.
Or how you handled the format.
Yeah, I didn't have any tackle to fish that way. I had more anticipated about what we did, catching 50 fish a day or less rather than 150 fish a day. So I would have brought a lot smaller baits, lighter line, and just went for numbers. But, some of the baits these guys were using were really cool, and we'll kind of dive into all that more in the fishing video. So day 2, more of the same, but a lot tougher fishing.
And it was tougher for everyone.
Oh,
it was a lot slower. It also was overcast.
Well, yeah, the conditions were different, and you had 45 boats that just absolutely smashed on them day one.
Yeah.
So the fishing's going to be a little bit tougher. So we did a very similar game plan, fished around the same areas, and we ended up catching 30.
Yeah.
We caught 30 bass, or 29 actually.
Yeah.
We caught 29. So we caught 10, come in, weighed, caught another 10, come in and weighed, and then we went back out and caught 9, and we were passing the ramp. It's getting close to the end of the day, so we're like, let's go in, weigh these 9, go back out, and that way if we catch 4 or 5 more, we can bring them all back in by the end of the day. And
they had the
they
biggest
would all
bag
count,
of day 2 for a long time as well.
So we did.
Oh, you had of the whole day.
Yeah, of day 2. Yeah. So we had the
biggest
10 fish bag, which was just
like,
under 10 kilograms. It was 9 something.
Or 981.
Yeah, not 9 something. I don't remember exactly the weights,
989 maybe.
We had the biggest 10 fish limit of day 2, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
and then we had closing ceremony.
Yeah, closing ceremony, trophy presentation. Essentially, it was very similar to like a Bass Pro Tour event.
Even
they had
fireworks
the
and everything.
and it was very cool to see all of that. They gave us a little commemorative trophy.
Yes.
All of the international anglers for being there and participating in the event. So that was fun. And what else? We had a barbecue there at the fishing facility.
They literally were roasting these lamb.
Yeah, we had lamb
all day, like on the turning
rotisserie.
Yes.
Over open fire.
Open
so they
fire.
were just cooking, basically the whole animal.
Yeah.
Which was it was pretty good.
A barbecue with us and then some of the Chinese anglers, which was really cool. They we also did like a tackle swap basically with them after the
once we got after the barbecue we finally go back to the hotel. It's getting late, but this was our last night there in Wong, so I kind of wanted to hang out with everyone, so we kind of organized a little tackle swap where essentially we all went down. We got back into the restaurant. I think we got back to the hotel at like 9 o'clock. It was pretty late. It was a late day. And Thomas, my partner, he as soon as he got back, he jumped in his car and ran into town and got us a bunch of fried chicken and some whiskey, some Chinese whiskey and beer. And
Matt texted everyone, was like, tackle swap, bring what you got.
Yeah, we texted everyone in the international group, and some of the Chinese anglers came as well, and we all met in the restaurant. And basically the Lazy Susans that they use for dinner,
they put the tackle
I just dumped all my tackle out on there, and each angler dumped all their tackle out on the Lazy Susan.
On a couple of different tables.
Then you
so
could
you
just
could go
spin it around and check out what you wanted. Everything I brought, I gave away to somebody there. So I didn't really want to bring anything home. I brought home my reels and, that kind of stuff. But I wanted to share that tackle, and,
it was just like a
thankfully,
good night.
Everyone was very welcoming of that, and I brought home some tackle from Spain and South Africa and Namibia. I brought home some cool stuff from there, so we'll show you guys some of their tackle as well. Yes. But kind of had the tackle swap, hanging out with everyone, ate some Chinese fried chicken, which was really good. Really good after fishing all day and, hanging out. So that was a pretty cool, fun experience there. And then
and at the barbecue event, we got to meet the CEO and the CFO of basically
MLF China.
Yeah, MLF China, which was so awesome. So they came and ate with us. They also presented us with gifts from the city, from the town. Like it was so nice that they did that. And then the Chinese anglers were there, so we were able to like give them some tackle too, and get some signatures and all of that. Like it was so
we took
fun.
a lot of pictures, signed a lot of autographs for all the fans there. It was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
Overall, but
we learned what kampai is in
kampai.
In Chinese.
Your cup.
It means
essentially chug.
Yeah, chug what you have left. And their MC, basically, what did he call himself? The Dave Mercer of China. Chinese Dave Mercer.
Chinese Dave Mercer.
Challenged me to a kampai. So it was just so fun.
We had a good time there, and then
and all the fans, like he said, they were just fabulous. So. Again, like that town had never, ever seen foreigners. So I've took probably 300 plus pictures with people and their kids. And like, it was just wild. I think they liked my hair. They liked my eyes. They loved them. Like, it was just
It was a really cool
It
experience.
was such a cool
to see all
experience.
that.
They were so excited. So we had like our signature cards, and they were so excited to like get one of those and have Matt sign it and just keep it and hold on to it. Like they were very happy we were there, appreciative everyone was there. I mean, it was awesome. And from what I understand, because they're, bringing more tourism or, trying to facilitate that in this town and city, it really helps the people that live there, and overall, will help their little town and their little city and their, quality of life, and all of that all increases from just, us coming out and bass fishing. So that was that cool. was exciting, super exciting. And they were so sweet. They were so kind. So that was so much fun.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much wrapped up the tournament side of things. So after the tackle swap, we hung out pretty late that night. I think we were out till close to midnight that night, hanging out with everybody. Went to bed and woke up. It was time to leave Zhangwang and head back towards Beijing, because we flew out the next day. So we had a whole travel day basically, and Wilson kind of planned more tourism for us. So we went and visited
It was an ancient
city in
it's Zinding.
Sure. I'm not even going to try to pronounce where we were, but it was a pretty cool ancient city that it was enclosed behind walls, and it was still a full functioning city, just like any other normal city, but it was all enclosed in these ancient walls.
Well, that, and they haven't changed any of the buildings since they were built. So like it's very historic. It's kind of like what we do with like Williamsburg or Jamestown. Like they keep those homes looking like they did in colonial times, so that you can see, or like Gettysburg, they do some stuff like that over there, but they did that with this ancient city. And it was awesome, but it was more of like a low-key, relaxed day, eat, drink, shop.
Walk around and be a tourist. Go shopping.
I sent some postcards from China, so fingers crossed they get here, because that town had also never really had foreigners, meaning outside of, outside of China.
No, definitely not.
I know. So we had to figure out how to they had to call a couple of people to figure out how to get it to America. So hopefully those show up, because that would be so awesome. But it was an extra amount of postage, and they just didn't know how to do it. But now they do, so it was awesome.
Some shopping, got some souvenirs, and some more
Did
food.
some bartering. You can barter there. It was freaking awesome, because Galway, who was our translator throughout this whole event, he helped us and was like really good at bartering. He was awesome.
So some of the I don't even know what you would call this.
Yeah, the shops.
But it was like a.
So each
some kind of I don't even know how to describe it. It was like all of the little statues and little like, what would you call that?
Like a things shop, like a trinket.
Like we bought a lucky cup that essentially is like the cups that are outside all of their palaces, or that's has all the different symbols for luck on it. I mean, just all the lions and just dragons, like dragons. All different little like
symbols. It's their symbols.
I guess they're symbols. I don't know what you would call that kind of shop, but like she said, you could go in there and barter.
But
like he'd be like, "Oh, that's 100 yen."
Like,
no, I'm paying 10.
I know Galway would be like, "I don't even think this is real," but he would say it in Chinese, like completely be like, "No, this is fake. She's not paying that. She's paying this."
So they just bartered back and forth. And it was funny, and
that was awesome.
Who knows what we even end up paying?
I know.
There you go.
So in China. Yeah, theirs was, what was it? Is 3-1?
It was 7-1.
7-1.
The Chinese yen, 7 Chinese yen equals $1 US.
Yes.
So,
which was cool.
Getting used to that was a little different as far as the pricing side of things. Like
I use my calculator a lot.
Oh yeah, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
All the stuff was definitely very cheaply priced in US dollar terms for sure. So.
Yes.
I don't feel like we got ripped off on anything.
Oh, heck no. I feel like we ripped them off a little.
No. But so that was the last day. We kind of explored there, and then
we didn't. It's locally sourced, obviously, so it was priced because of that. But I'm just saying,
yeah, everything.
It was so
cheap because
cheap.
it's made right there.
Yes,
and it's for the locals. You know, they're not trying to rip off tourists or anything.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't feel like we were overpaying or anything like that. But
it's just like your local.
We had
shop.
to make our way back to Beijing that night because.
Our flight was in the morning.
Lewis and Ruben were flying out late that night, or I guess the next morning technically, but they had to be at the airport by like 11 or 12 that night. We checked into a hotel right by the airport.
It was a coffee town.
For just a few hours because we flew out at 9 a.m. the next morning, so we had to get to the airport by 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So we got there bright and early and all checked through and headed out from Beijing. So it was a short week. 6 days, I guess, technically 144 hours is.
That's what the visa is for. Because in
that
China they have like a free visa that you can stay in China 144 hours without getting like the full blown. Without buying the visa.
So that's
which
what
is
we
cool.
did, and we were right underneath that time. So we got out of Beijing and jumped on a plane and headed to Tokyo. So we were. As we were booking our flights to come home, we seen that we had a layover in Tokyo. So we were
no. We had previously booked our flights. On the way to the airport, we were looking.
No. It was the night before we realized that our flight out was going to be after the 144-hour visa. So that kind of got us a little nervous. So we booked an earlier flight. And then when we booked the earlier flight, we realized that the layover was in Tokyo, and I was like, how many opportunities are we going to have to be in Tokyo? We should just cancel the extra flight home and just stay there and stay in Tokyo for a couple of days.
I was like, yes.
Explore Tokyo and go to
tackle shops.
The tackle shop. So we came home with a bunch of tackle from Tokyo.
We came home with 2 suitcases extra.
Regardless.
Of tackle.
That's kind of how that spur of the moment, last minute decision happened to stay in Tokyo for a couple of days. So we'll dive into all that in another video. But we wanted to bring you guys a quick little recap. I guess this wasn't quick, or
it wasn't quick.
This was a long video. But if you guys are still
so
watching,
so much happened. Like it was so wild. It was so awesome. Like I'm so thankful we got to go. I want to go back. Like. It was a great experience. I'm so glad we had Wilson like helping us with it.
We couldn't have done it without Wilson. No, for sure. So Wilson was definitely the
pivotal
savior and the only way we could make that trip happen. And really, the only way I would go back again is if we had Wilson with us for sure.
Yeah, he was amazing.
I would definitely like to go back and fish another tournament there. It was really cool, and everyone was awesome. So. I feel like we may be back if they have another event, but we'll have to see how things go. But
we'll keep you guys posted.
Wanted to bring you guys a little update and recap of the trip. We gotta go pack up. Like I said earlier, we're heading on the cruise. We're leaving in just a couple hours. So.
But that's why we wanted to go ahead and bring this video. I'm gonna edit all of the other content, obviously after we get back. So that will be coming. Like it really was just such a cool experience. So I can't wait to show you guys. Obviously, if you follow our stories on Instagram, you saw some of it and then some a little bit on TikTok. But the YouTube fam hasn't seen any of it yet. So I'm so excited to show you guys that. So give me a little bit of time, but we'll get that edited. It was awesome.
Appreciate you guys. If you guys are still watching, you guys are awesome. Definitely appreciate you guys watching this video. Leave all those likes and comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.